because we were talking numbers. I remember when we first were getting ready for this thing to release, and I remember saying 1 million. Obviously, I was wrong. Where were your estimates? Does anybody remember what their estimates were for Monster Hunter when this thing was?
It wasn't a milli. Like, it was, I think it was like 700,000 or something for me. I was way the fuck off. I didn't realize the Monster Hunter was like. Me and Smash talking about this last night. Like, when I think of Capcom, Monster Hunter is not the first thing that comes to my mind. Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry. I didn't realize Monster Hunter was this big a fucking deal, dude.
Dude, Monster Hunter is one of the most popular video games in Japan. They peddle that shit everywhere.
In Japan, yeah, but I didn't realize it was that big over.
Here's the thing: Monster Hunter Worlds is what gave Monster Hunter such mainstream appeal, because before that, it was very much like Japanese niche sort of deal. Like, I had friends that played Monster Hunter for sure back even on PS2 days, but it was like a small group. These numbers are unprecedented, especially for a game that, honestly speaking, just being honest, runs like ass and is $70. It's crazy.
What did let me look it up, because I know Monster Hunter Worlds was the big one, right?
Yeah, Worlds. And then what was the one that was on the Switch? That one also did good numbers.
It's also worth pointing out people are not buying Western games at the moment because
look at this difference.
That's crazy.
That is a huge difference. I mean, it is wild, man. And it goes to show that, you know, this is. People are looking for this kind of content, right? And people are starved for what they feel like are good games.
Yeah.
And there's also, to be fair, way more PC gamers now than ever. I mean, PC gamers we always had a big community, but now more than ever, as consoles become a little bit less and less relevant due to the lack of exclusivities and whatnot, PC gaming has definitely ramped up to the point where now, I mean, you're talking about 1 million more concurrent players at its best. And that's only 6 years ago. We're not talking 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 6 years ago. That's insane. That is a level of growth that is unprecedented.
Console gamers have migrated to PC, but they've also kept the pre-order culture habit that console was infamous for. So now PC gets a lot of day one purchases as opposed to like slow releasing later on the PC after it's been on console. And so now you're actually getting reasonable data that you can use to see how PC stacks up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's also more content creators than ever before. People making YouTube videos, streaming the whole nine. So that's going to add to day one purchases because everyone wants to I'll get the viewers if I'm the first one to stream this game. You know, like, you got 2 viewers on Twitch, motherfucker, but you're trying. Respect, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cheap that was funny.
Totally
so the numbers are definitely much higher than I thought. I thought it was going to be 1 million. I remember back when we were talking about this initially, people in the chat were thinking it was going to do like Wukong numbers, and I'm like, nah, I don't think it's going to do that. But I thought about half of that would be about the number. But even I was way off, man. 1 million, almost 1.4 million is fucking insanity.
I don't remember what my number was, but it definitely wasn't anywhere close to that. So
yeah,
and you got to factor on top of that. This is just on fucking PC, like
right.
Yeah, it's not even console. Exactly, no console, and you got to imagine this game probably sold already over 4 to 5 million copies across all platforms, right? By now,
I'm not saying this to be a dick hypno, but like we're solid like 300, 400-ish viewers less than normal on Saturday night. How much of that's because motherfuckers are playing this game right now?
Probably that, to be honest with you. Also, YouTube likes to fuck with me, but no, it is probably that. It is probably that. You know, this is a huge, unprecedented number. So then again, we already knew this game was going to be a success, right? I'm not arguing that. But what I do want to talk about is the issues, obviously. So the game's got some problems. You know,
does not.
What?
His computer's running it fine.
Yeah, I don't know what problem y'all talking about.
I'm like a 47.
Says the guy who sounds like a fucking Terminator right now.
God damn.
Atreus, it sounded like he was adjusting. Give us a quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
The reason why Trace is having all these problems is because he's trying to play Monster Hunter while be on stream right now. So.
Is that what it is?
No, I can't hear it. It's got compressor on. This PC sounds like a jet engine right now.
He can't dispute this because he can't even speak coherently.
No, but seriously, so the game's got some issues. People obviously fucking wrecking this game, although it is getting better. When I first talked about the review ratio, it was almost 60-40, where 60% negative, 40% positive. Now it's getting rounded out to almost a 50-50 split. So that's good to see. You know, people are
whoa, wait. You mean
it went under 50 at the one point?
We're gonna talk about performance issues and not just call everything woke. What kind of grifters are we?
I know we're doing a terrible job. We're doing a terrible job. So who's played the game?
I have.
Smash, Sheep, me. I know Atreus has, but he's fixing his shit. So out of everybody here, anybody experience any issues aside from me?
I witnessed your issues firsthand watching you live. So I know it's true. I know it's a thing. But no, for me,
Smash trying to pretend he watches your content, Hypno. That's adorable.
I know, it's wild.
Well,
can I ask if it's really
humble
open
bragging
world?
It's the perception of open world.
Yeah,
but it's
also like the perception of the frame rate as well, using frame gen.
But what are you guys playing it on? Like, what is you locking it to 30 or?
So the ironic thing is that everybody here, I don't believe, has experienced any issues aside from me, and I probably have the best rig.
Right, that's the funniest part. Yeah.
That's the ironic thing about all that.
What was your other issue? You had an issue with the NPC not talking to you, but what was the other issue?
So I had like 3 to 4 issues. So before I even started the stream, I logged into the game, obviously, to get the shaders and everything done. And then the game crashed, like right at the beginning. So that was number one. Before I even started the game, I'm like, oh, here we go. Then it ran fine. The game always ran fine. I never had any frame issues. I never experienced any frame drops or anything.
Which is weird because that's the majority of people saying that's what the problem with it is. So
yeah, I never experienced any frame drops. But then again, my GPU could be carrying like the heavy load of that.
Yeah,
but
the game is heavily CPU bottlenecked. It is making people's CPUs run at unprecedented fucking heat levels. It is actually kind of scary.
Melting computers across the country.
I checked my temps. Everything was fine. Like I didn't have, there wasn't anything extreme over the top that I was experiencing. So, and again, I never had any frame drops, but the game crashed right in the beginning. I was like, all right, whatever. And then after playing a little bit, when I got in town and it was time for me to talk to Gemma, the blacksmith, couldn't talk to her. She was bugged out. Literally had no option to speak to her. At first, I thought I was doing something wrong. The chat was trying to convince me I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not that retarded. I'm not doing something wrong. Then come to find out that it was actually bugged. Had to log out of the game, log back in. Then it got fixed.
Well, to be fair, I heard someone else had the same issue. They said they just had to zone out and zone back in, and it refreshed it. So you didn't technically have to leave the game for it to fix, but
you had to do something that you weren't supposed to do.
Right.
Which is, it's a fucking bug.
Inconvenience.
Yeah.
What else? The textures, obviously I was having like texture loading issues. There was certain parts of like the environment, there were like, you could tell the texture, like one of them were loading, one of them wasn't, so it had that like muddy look to it. And what was the last one? There was something else that happened. I fucking forgot. But I mean, regardless, the game's fun, dude. It's so much fun. And I'm sure if you have no issues with it, it's even more fun. So I don't want to take away from how fun the game is. It definitely is a Monster Hunter game. Like if that's what you're looking for, you should buy the game. Like because you're going to get more of the same. That's what the Japanese do. They're going to keep giving you what they know you want, and that's how it should be.
So I got a question though.
Imagine that.
This is it's the Reach for the Moon engine, which is a great engine. I mean, that's what all the recent Resident Evil remakes are on and whatnot, or just Resident Evil games in general. They run smooth as butter. Those are some of the most well-performing games out the gate in terms of optimization. So is it an optimization issue, or because I mean, like folks are bitching. There's a lot of motherfuckers bitching.
So it seems as though with the Resident Evil engine, this only seems to happen with open world games. This has been happening with Monster Hunter. What was the other open world game?
Dragon's Dogma
2. What was Dragon's Dogma the RE engine?
Yes.
Two was.
Capcom basically only uses the Resident Evil engine because one, they spent tons of money and multiple years making the engine so that they don't have to pay anybody else for an engine. So they want to opt in to use their engine for everything because it saves them money. And obviously their developers already know how to use it, so it's a benefit to them, but it doesn't seem to work well with open world games. They aren't, I don't know how to, I'm obviously not a developer, but usually companies will make like a edited version of the engine in order to be able to handle certain things. I don't know if they've done that or if they haven't done that. So it's kind of a struggle when you notice open world doesn't work well with the RE engine.
Yeah, that engine is really trash for things like that. Unfortunately, that's why Dragon's Dogma 2 is such a big issue. I know the game runs better now, obviously after patches and shit, but quite frankly, that you would think that from the time Dragon's Dogma 2 came out to the time that this game came out, they would have worked on it to try to make it a little bit better. But it's clear that it still has the same issues, and they're just kind of handling it game by game as they release, games more with that engine. But the actual Resident Evil games that use that engine, they're a lot easier to handle because they're zones. They're not open world games. And even though this game is not technically an open world game, it tries to play like one. It tries to present itself as one. So there's certain technology there that I don't think the engine is ready for.
I mean, to be fair, visually, because I totally forgot that like Devil May Cry 5 is also in the. By the way, I know it's RE. People think it's Resident Evil. It's Reach for the Moon engine. I don't know why they call it what they fucking
I call it Resident Evil because number one, it's Capcom. I don't give a fuck, and number two, it just sounds cool.
Well, just in case people like want to Google it and look it up and shit, I was just but yeah, it's but any game that I've played that like it runs beautifully for. Like you said, segmented games. Devil May Cry looks fucking great, plays great. Same with the Resident Evil games. I mean, I love this engine. Frankly, it's when all these developers nowadays are using Unreal for fucking everything. You've got this generic ass looking slot because everyone's using Unreal. I love when there's at least Capcom's doing something in terms of using their own proprietary shit.
Yeah, and again, does anybody feel like this game is not as like good looking as it could be? I feel like the game's a little bit ugly, to be honest with you. I feel like the graphics are not what I was expecting for
I think yes and no.
Monster Hunter game.
Like there's some renders of like the cats and stuff that are like really good, and it kind of almost stands out because the world is not as rendered as they are. So I've seen some of that. But
there's some moments when I'm playing a game, I feel like I'm playing a PS3 game or a PS4 game.
Like that's people been saying it's locked at 720p. Is that true?
I haven't noticed.
I don't know if it's locked at 720p. I don't think so. I heavily doubt it, but
it's got some interlacing on the frame rate.
Reported it. Like I was reading a PC Gamer article yesterday. That's what they said. I was like, there ain't no fucking way.
It could also be that I'm in the first area, so that's like a desert area. Maybe there's other areas that look better. And
I mean, when you're playing a game that is trouncing your fucking PC. Like and you have a decent PC, you have like a PC that's in like the top 15 percentile, you would expect it to honestly look better than what Monster Hunter does look like, in all honesty.
I suppose.
Yeah, fair.
But I just feel like it looks very washed out, very muddy, and I was just expecting more, especially after seeing the trailers. I felt like it looked better in the trailer.
Well, I worry if it even does look better, how much that would melt computers even more.
Yeah,
well,
right.
I know they have the high resolution texture pack, and so have any of you guys played it with that texture pack?
No, I haven't bothered.
Okay, I haven't either. So none of us have experience with that. I hear it does make the game look better, but it also makes the performance a lot worse. So it's like it's not even worth it right now at this point in time. But again, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. So, but I didn't have any frame issues, so maybe I won't have any frame issues with the texture pack. But as of right now, it just doesn't look like how I thought it would look, to be honest with you. It looks very, very older. That's the best way to put it.
Would you say it's worth it? Because I mean, this is one reason why I'm so hesitant to buy new games now, is like it doesn't ever seem to be worth the price tag.
I would say it clearly depends on what you're looking for, and if you are a Monster Hunter fan, you're going to be heavily biased, obviously. Although there's a lot of people who are Monster Hunter fans, like diehard fans, and they're complaining about the game because they say it's basically a easy mode version of Monster Hunter, like compared to previous.
Those people can suck a dick.
Going for the mainstream appeal, huh?
All right, speak your mind, sir. Holy shit.
I mean, I always encourage people to not buy games that don't run well until they run well. Honestly,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, would you buy a car that didn't run well?
No.
Oh no, Atreus. Oh right, he's gone.
Well, I feel like it's one of those. I said this when I covered it last night, talking about my experience. Is like, if you like Monster Hunter, then you will like this game. If you've never played Monster Hunter, you should probably try it and see. If you don't like Monster Hunter, you're going to not like this game, and that's pretty standard across the board for it. Like it's it's what I remember from the 3DS. What was it, Worlds?
Yeah.
And I played the shit out of that game back in the day. And this feels like a more modernized version with a few different quality of life changes and additional content to it. But at the end of the day, it's still the same formula, the same cycle and stuff. So if you like it, it's great. And if you don't run into issues, it'll be the perfect game for you. But your mileage may vary with that.
Yeah,
almost certainly will. Yeah.
I just like the amount of people that go full on like to bat for these games because I know Monster Hunter is super popular and I know it's gonna have its people that are gonna die hard defend it no matter what, and you're gonna have people that be like, well, I didn't experience any issues, so go fuck yourself, kind of a thing. But it's very clear that a lot of people are experiencing issues. But my problem is that you're releasing these games on PC. You obviously have a massive market on PC. If you didn't know before, you damn sure do know now. And don't get it twisted. Worlds hitting 330,000 on Steam 6 years ago. That's not a small number. That's a huge number. Even back then, that's a gigantic number. So for you to come out the gate and not try to release a decent PC port, I think that's pretty fucking insane.
Well,
I think it goes to show that PC is
this last night, and that a lot of now, if this is true, who knows? It's just a theory so far, but a lot of people complaining are AMD, whereas people with NVIDIA don't seem to be having issues. Now, I'm an AMD guy. I plan on making the switch to NVIDIA, but that's another reason.
Do not do that.
Depends whether you're running an i or a Ryzen. One's better than the other.
NVIDIA is
that's the smartest bitch I know when it comes to fucking PC builds. So if you say stick with AMD, I'll stick with AMD.
Unless you get an older card, the 5000 series is a fucking joke.
I was gonna go with the absolute newest card because everyone's talking about how it's a joke. I was gonna go like 2 or 3 generations back.
I will say, wait to hear what the new AMD cards are like. They just announced them, and price to performance, at least on paper, sounds very nice.
They did look good. And what are they, like $500-$600, something like that?
The cheapest card I think is $550. The most expensive card is $600, and it seems to be not that far off from a fucking 5080. And a price difference, huge.
Yeah, I would definitely check out AMD's up in their game for sure. And I think it's because NVIDIA got really lazy. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think overall what Smash is saying is true, even though it sounds simple. But that's really the mindset to go into it with. I think this game is one of those just, if you're a Monster Hunter fan, jump in. If you're not, don't. And if you're kind of on the fence and you're brand new to it, then supposedly to some people, this is the more casual Monster Hunter and probably will be the one that you want to jump in. And maybe, you could check out the older ones later down the line that are supposedly harder. But
Price isn't a bad option to try, to be honest with you.
Speaking of harder, can you check the private?
What the hell?
Like, what, you sent him a dick pic or something?
Yeah, like what kind of segue is that, bro?
Yeah, like, I sent you a dick pic, bro. Speaking of harder.
Should I call your wife to tell her about this new developments, man?
This is mega goonin. What is this, bro?
This is from Kyle.
Fucking Kyle, bro.
Submitting his wife for the battle.
This man is mega goonin. Look at this shit. Hold on.
The mods are already in.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, just wait. It gets crazier.
I thought you couldn't do anything with the tits.
God damn.
No, it's a mod.
No, it's a texture pack.
Right.
Yeah, it's a texture pack. We're good.
God. Wait for the jiggle. There it is.
Boing.
Wow. Oh my God. Look at Gamma, bro. Holy shit. Alrighty then. Listen, so you know what? The PC community, we save lives. That's just what it is, man. That's just
or ruin them. One of the two.
Oh yeah, one of the two. Oh my God, dude. Wait, hold on. What the fuck is this? Who did this?
No idea.
What is this? I can't even play this. What is
brother,
this?
What's that, brother?
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Jill Valentine.
Oh my God!
Still doesn't fix one of the worst fucking video games ever made. No amount of making Jill's tits bigger and putting her in skinny clothing and fix this. Oh, I almost dropped a gamer word. Goddamn.
Surely having huge fucking knockers like that is just gonna make you an easier target for the zombies.
Dude, that is just insanity, bro. I don't even know what the fuck.
What is the?
I love that outfit. So
I'm sure you do.
We're in the game.
That's insane.
What a surprise! The huge titted VTuber advocates for it.
Well, I mean, one of the people in I think Leon's chat was like, "You should do the old Sable Hands outfit from."
Nice.
Yeah.
Count
so
it from
I
the
was.
Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I still remember the black latex outfit. Is that what you're talking
People
about?
went fuck. No. When she took off her shirt and she literally just had body paint handprints
The
on
hands,
her tip,
yeah.
Nothing else. Like
I remember seeing that in a magazine after it happened. It was pretty crazy. So let's talk about this really quick. So this is still Monster Hunter related, but the forums are an interesting place. I don't know if you I don't know if you've been to them or read them. I read them sometimes just for fun because it's pretty wild. But apparently this is not a bait post, which I immediately think it is when you say it's not. But there are people that are complaining in Monster Hunter because they're being misgendered. They have selected characters and they have selected certain options in the character that has confused the game, right? So basically they'll actually similar to what I almost did. They'll pick a, let's say, female character, but with a male voice, but they would consider themselves to be female, or at least the creator will consider them to be female. But because of the voice being male, they're getting he, him pronouns, and they're having a little bit of a,
get retroons.
A little bit of a melty melt. So,
oh well,
I don't know if you guys have seen this. Who always wins?
Who? Reality always wins.
Yeah. So it says choice of pronouns in game. Oh yes. First of all, this isn't a clown bait post, nor an LGBT hate post. I'm genuinely interested in what triggers this choice. Does anyone remember what dictates the pronouns you're assigned during cutscenes? As I made a mix of both body types and voices during beta, I can't remember which of these options actually give you he, him, or she, her pronouns. And then people were like,
I guess it wasn't that important then if you can't fucking remember.
Remember, right.
This is probably the funniest comment. You guys aren't skipping the dialogue?
Yeah, exactly. Why the fuck are you paying attention to the story? What are
that
you
is
doing?
fucking base, bro. Like, wait, what? Are you not just hunting monsters? So people have pretty much locked on to the fact that the voice will be the key to basically choosing your pronouns. But people are basically upset because at this point they're like, well, that's why we should have a pronoun selector so we can avoid nonsense like this. I saw comments like that.
Nonsense, you
Jerry,
say.
But yeah,
right. What's the real nonsense
here? Somebody actually commented on Twitter a few hours ago, and it was so spot on and simple. They just responded and said, I thought pronouns didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
I
literally
thought it wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
that's
say the
what
pronouns, bigot.
Oh,
exactly.
I am so glad. I'm so glad every day that I wake up and I don't have to do a fucking bunch of mental gymnastics just to have a bowl of cereal. It's I don't know what it must be like to be these fucking people.
Same.
You need the whole world to bend around you. It's pathetic.
It is so wild. So I just thought that would be interesting. And then we also got little troll posts like this over on the forums where clearly somebody who must work for Denuvo probably, stop complaining about Denuvo. Just buy the game and do not complain that you cannot illegally install it. Get a job and buy the game. I really hate people that try to downplay Denuvo's effect on video games.
Oh, Denuvo's terrible.
This is how we know. This is how we know they're affecting it, because people were not having problems. Not too many problems. They were, but not too many. People were not having too many problems in the beta. It was running pretty decently well for most people. And then when the release comes out and it has Denuvo, suddenly everybody's having these problems. And it makes you wonder.
Denuvo is the drag queen story hour of PC gaming.
Accurate.
Dude, Star Wars Jedi Survivor never ran well on PC until they took Denuvo off. Now it runs fine.
Yeah,
it's provable. And you guys remember when Denuvo, I think the CEO or somebody tried to come out with this whole fucking story. He did like a whole interview with a journalist about how Denuvo doesn't do what you think it does. Basically, an Alyssa Mercante version of it. It was like gamers have a misconception about what Denuvo does. We have proven that we don't affect performance. Like all kinds of fucking nonsense.
It's even worse like Jedi. You have to put up with this so that they can take away your rights. That's the real like cherry on the shit sundae.
I really believe that this game would not be having nowhere near the amount of issues if Denuvo wasn't implemented. I'm not going to solely blame Denuvo, because at the end of the day, Capcom is called crap comp for a reason, especially with PC ports. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they're innocent. But Denuvo plays a huge part, I feel like, in this like what we're seeing and what we're experiencing. To what level, I don't know. I just feel like they do. So, but overall, I mean, what's the? Go ahead, Leon. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, so I had never until recently bought a game, at least to my knowledge, that had Denuvo in it, and so Steam was doing a Sonic the Hedgehog sale recently. I was like, you know what? I've got Frontiers on Switch. I want to play this bitch on a PC, and so I rebought it, and it said Denuvo included or whatever. And the game runs like a dream 99% of the time. Then every now and again, it just does this fucking weird, like massive drops in frames and shit. And I'm like, ain't no goddamn way my rig can't handle a fucking Sonic game. It's got to be Denuvo.
Oh yeah,
is it an Unreal Engine game?
I don't know if
Frontiers
it likely is, and
new
on PC, Unreal Engine even 4 has this infamous fucking shader cache stutter. It's unavoidable in some instances, sadly.
Like
Unreal Engine's another fucking problem.
Yeah, like it's a gorgeous game. Just every now and again, it's like, dude, how the fuck is this running worse than the Switch port? And then it just gets right back to normal. Like it takes a stutter several seconds, but then it gets back to normal and looks gorgeous again.
The reason it runs a certain way on like PC and shit like that in comparison to consoles is it's like one specific rig. They know what they're working with. You can't you got a whole bunch of variables with like PC.
Right. And that's why developers try and claim optimization for PC is so fucking hard. And my response is always just get good. We're paying you for this shit for a reason. These $70 fucking games.
Yeah.
It's no different than a lot of apps that use an in-app camera like TikTok and Instagram. This is where the misconception of iPhone has a better camera than Android. It's because the apps that you use, iPhone only has one OS, whereas Androids have a multitude of different OSs. So some of them don't, they don't program these in-app cameras to use the full function of the Android cameras. So even if you have a better camera spec for spec, you're not going to be able to see it because of the app. It's the same thing. Where if you work on a console, you only got one console to worry about, and that's it. It's universal across the board. But when you're making a game for PC, you got all kinds of fucking configurations you got to think about. So
get good. They're supposed to be professionals at this.
If other people could do it, if other games can do it, surely you can too. And it's not like Monster Hunter is a fucking graphically intensive game. Again, this is like, I was shocked.
I think it actually looks worse than some of Capcom's more recent, older releases.
Of course it does. But again, it's because it's an open world game. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's an open world styled game. So naturally, they're going to be a little bit lighter on the graphics to handle more of the processing.
What exactly do you mean? It's like an open world presenting game, but it's not actually open world. I haven't played it yet.
It's seamless zoning. So like you have zones,
right.
But it's seamless. So as you transition from one zone to the next, it looks like you're going into an open world, but there's like that minuscule little pause that happens before you actually go to the next section. But it feels like you went into an open world area. It's kind of like
it's not one big seamless world, basically.
No, it's not. It's not. Right. It's loading, but it's like seamless.
But you can still go in any direction you want. Like it's not missions, surely.
I mean, there's like certain areas, there's exits, and you can only exit through certain areas and then kind of explore throughout the world. But that's basically it.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Yeah,
it's kind of disappointing.
But again, most people won't even realize it, right? Most people, especially if your PC is really good, you're not going to realize it. But you still have like invisible walls and stuff, I'm sure, to deal with in that. So it all depends. But overall, like impressions, I mean, what do you guys, for those of you who played it, what do you think overall?
I like it.
I think I have the benefit of not necessarily the bias of Monster Hunter, but more of the benefit of PC ignorance. I don't look at video games and go, I want the most best performingest, best graphicest of all time, and if it's not that, then you're fucking up. Like I'm playing a game on medium settings. Let's be real. I don't give a fuck about ultra resolution, refresh rate, frame rate, all this extra shit. Like as long as the game doesn't crash and as long as it doesn't like produce a slideshow for me and I can comprehend what's going on the screen, I'm fine with it. I grew up playing.
I grew up playing on the Super Nintendo and the NES and get stuff like that. I don't care about frame rates. I'm like 60 FPS at 1080p. I'm fine.
I think it's fair to say that people want what they pay for, especially on PC.
Sure,
if you have like a a modest PC, you accept that. Hey, man, I'm just gonna have decent like graphics, nothing too crazy. But if you pay like you build or you buy an insane level
or something,
$2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a PC, you want the best of the best. Like it just depends. Like that's the great thing about PC. You have the options and to be whatever type of gamer you want to be.
Sure.
Well, I think there's sort of a, like Cass was saying, a mix to it, but I think it more depends on the type of game it is. Like if it's going to be something that, like, let's say an actual open world game, I don't think you should go in experiencing like or expecting like the best graphics in the world because different games made different ways. But if this is like a level by level game or something that's like, again, like the recent Resident Evils where you're in like confined locations for bits at a time, okay, clearly it's not going to be resource intensive. You better fucking put the work into making this shit look great because again, it's all about how the game is made. I think it dictates because I don't usually care about graphics. That being said, it's also 2025. If your hair textures aren't looking good, what the fuck you doing? They figured that shit out on the PS3.
Which, by the way, I want to be very clear. I mean, those Resident Evil remakes look really good. Like graphically speaking, they look really good.
Yeah.
The lighting
Very
is
nice.
unbelievable. Like the environments look really good. So that's what makes me just blows my mind when I think about, okay, so is this the same engine that made those games? Why does Monster Hunter look like this? It just doesn't look what I thought it would look like for the RE engine.
I think you just have different expectations because I'm coming in from the 3DS. So to me, it's like it looks incredible from what
That's the last time you played games, huh?
That's the last time I played a Monster Hunter game.
Like 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the last time you played games. That would make a lot of sense. Got it.
So for me, and plus the performance of it is a huge step up. So that's why I'm so content with it. I'm like, no, this is great. This is a perfect. Like, I think it's just like the expectations you have going into it might be why you're a little jaded with it.
No,
like a true family man.
No, soy JT. Lower your expectations.
We love every week having you on the show, Ryan.
No, I understand. My thing is like I understand when it comes where people come from when like they expect a certain level of like professionalism from different companies, especially companies like Capcom who've been around for decades. Like
30 years,
Capcom already know Capcom's good at putting out bangers. Like they're good at putting out video games that do crazy numbers. There's good action, good music, good like visuals and stuff like that. So when you're doing something like this, you're expecting that same kind of like effort,
quality.
And when that same kind of quality, and when it doesn't deliver, you're just like you're left out there. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing? I get it.
Happened, yeah.
Well, that's why when I'm saying I'm not comparing it to previous Monster Hunter games. I'm just saying in general what I've seen the RE engine and what it could do. I just thought there would be more. Like I don't know how to explain it. I just really was shocked at how damn near PS3 this fucking game looks. I'm not.
You keep saying PS3. I'm not. I feel like that's way knocking it. Like I mean, I could see like
those backgrounds, bro. A PS3. I'm sorry. Models.
No. People underestimated PS3. Like go back and at least when it comes to like cutscenes and whatnot, dude, PS3 games actually look.
Yeah, PS3 was really good.
Look remarkable, and I don't think we've had much of a step up since then.
It was the last real leap in graphics.
The last real leap.
One that has a ridiculous fucking PC. He's going to look at it and be like, "Yeah, this is the."
Yeah, he's going to have a much more scrutinizing eye.
Have that kind of when you pay for what you pay for, that you expect better.
Wait, you guys calling me bougie?
No. But I also think it's
know what that means.
You're not a pretender.
I think another factor in this whole operation is that like or in this whole shebang, I guess you can say, is that we've hit a certain point in technology where like advancement is like slowed down drastically.
Plateauing.
Yeah, it's plateauing. That's what I mean. Not
now. However,
it's plateaued.
And here's where I got beef with like Nintendo, for example. Like Nintendo, they've never been graphical powerhouses, and that's fine. They ain't about that. However, they announced that fucking Pokemon game. That
shit looks ass.
Dude, it does.
Oh gosh.
Why the fuck you putting out a new supposedly open world Pokemon game and shit like that. It still looks like a fucking DS game, but on a Switch. Like, yo, I'm tired of these DS ass looking models. You know what? Capcom want to run some PS3 looking Monster Hunter shit. That's still more forgivable than what the fuck's going on with Pokemon.
That's true.
Yeah, but from their
that is true. They haven't done shit to the models.
If they're able to sell by doing that, there's no motivation to improve.
Yeah.
You're exactly correct, which is why I'm glad Power World's been stomping his shit out there. Maybe it'll get Nintendo off their ass and actually fix some shit.
They're not
that
fixing
is
shit.
true.
Like, Power World is a superior Pokemon game, but the issue with Pokemon, and not even to like steer it towards Pokemon, but the issue with Pokemon is that the Pokemon is the biggest franchise on the planet. Like they make more money than Marvel.
It's
like
not an
they've made
by the way.
more money than Mario.
Made more money than Marvel and DC combined. Let's be real. But they hit a point where they're just like, we're the Call of Duty and Nintendo. We don't have to put out anything different.
Right.
We just have to add some extra Pokemon and give people the same bullshit. They'll eat it up.
They're not even creating new Pokemon anymore. They're just making new fucking evolutions for the ones that already exist.
Yeah. Like it's people can
talk about missing the point.
I don't know. It's wild.
I don't give a fuck what a Pokemon evolves into. I want more to fill the decks. And also, I want a national dex.
Now they even be taking away features. Like, there's not a national index anymore and shit like that. Like
what the fuck is that?
Talking about
they
how
got rid of that like 2 generations ago. There was no national dex.
So, when I think
the
about
only way to have a national dex now is to use the fucking app that you get on your phone and for the Switch, Pokemon Home.
Yeah. I mean,
really
again,
frustrating.
Shit like that makes anything going on with Monster Hunter immediately seem more acceptable. And it shouldn't be how it is, but it is.
Well, I mean, the other added benefit that Monster Hunter has over Pokemon is you do more than just go forward and press A. You actually swing a sword or you put up a shield. Pokemon, you just press forward and go A and you win. That's
that Legends Arceus game and this new sequel, ZA or AZ or whatever, is actually a more supposed to be a more competent actual game as opposed to just hitting the A button. And gameplay wise, maybe it is, but if it still looks like if it still looks like it's on a fucking DS, I don't ask for a lot, but how come you can give us something like Super Mario Odyssey, which looks like, or at the time it came out,
Odyssey looked great.
Like a next generation game, and Pokemon still looked like it came out in fucking 2012.
Odyssey looked great
because the people who buy Pokemon games, do not scrutinize the same level as everybody else.
The Pokemon community is far more forgivable. Look at Savvy. I'm not even throwing shade at her or anything like that. But Savvy is
sorry, that was funny.
Look at you, woman. Clean yourself up.
She is ride or fucking die for Kalos. And I think Kalos was that was the beginning of the end for Pokemon for me.
Which one's Kalos?
Black and White?
No, that was after Black and White. Black and White was the best version, in my opinion. They gave
it was X and Y?
Yeah, it was X and Y.
The French inspired one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I think Pokemon's a prime example of just indoctrinating your fan base into accepting pretty much anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but even as like a Pokemon player, I was getting bored up until Arceus, which I got really excited for. That one was my favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
I've still never.
But then it's like they go, "Oh no, it was too fun. People liked it too much. Let's walk it back a little bit." And then they made it worse.
I'm pretty sure you can find like my streams back when I streamed on Twitch. You can go back and like watch my streams. I said like when I finished the game, I said this is the standard. Anything below this is unacceptable.
Well, let's talk about this really quick. Let's get back on Monster Hunter. So
back on Monster Hunter.
There's this post that is rightfully getting a bunch of clown rewards on Steam. This person might be a bait post, most likely. But it says most successful woke game of all time. Where's the anti-woke crowd now that we've got ourselves a successful woke game?
I mean, dude, JDA and Grums both called this game woke and then walked it back once it was successful. I'm just saying, like,
I did see them walk it back, but we knew they were gonna do that though.
What the fuck is woke about it?
I have
you
no
can
idea.
make women with mustaches or whatever. I don't fucking know.
That's called
you've been able to do that for the longest
customization.
time.
Yeah.
I used to do that shit in wrestling games just for fun, just make insane looking characters.
Cares, man? Just let people make what the fuck they want to make. I think one of the positives, like the past couple of generations of video games, is that I can make a female character now, and they aren't forced to wear a dress. Because back 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing. You chose the female character. You had only a certain set of haircuts, and you're forced to wear a fucking dress. And that shit fucking blows. So most of the time, I would always make a dude. It's like, I want to play as, like, you know, I would rather play as a female that wears sort of guyish clothes, because that would be me. But I'm going to go play as a dude. I'm going to make my version of Future Trunks and then run through the game, because I don't have those options. So
Future Trunks fucked up the timeline. Fuck
just let whatever character have all the fucking options they want. Absolutely. Like,
look at this.
I don't know. Who cares? It's your creation. It's your experience. So leave people the fuck alone.
I think you can tell who the real gamers are in this case. If they bitch about customization and whether or not you can have the he, him, whatever, then that means they're not gamers, because gamers don't really give a fuck.
Well, within context, really, like if you
you know what I mean.
Let's say Monster Hunter like had one of the storylines in this game was like, oh, there's this this group of people that are actually like the PETA, but for monsters. They want to save and preserve them, and they're treated like the heroes, and they treat you like the villain. I'd say that that's what, but shit like that ain't fucking happening. What, just making characters, having LGBT, that's woke now? Go fuck yourself.
Well, again, a lot of this is cope from people that are assuming other people's points of views, which again is the worst thing you could do. Because again, it's always like, oh, by their own rules on what
looking
is
at you,
or
David
isn't.
Jappy.
So it's like they don't even know. They don't even know. They're just going off of what they think other people's talking points are. And number two, the whole ABC appearance thing. I mean, all these games are doing that. The Japanese games are doing that for reasons that we already know.
Now, what is that? I get A and B is like a way to avoid saying male and female. What the fuck is C? I'm
defective.
C is the midget. That's what we're going with.
Instead of a taco or a burrito, they give you a quesadilla.
God damn.
A is asshole, B is butthole, C is cunt hole, and D is defective hole.
I mean, I do know some motherfuckers that are anti-woke that talk all this shit about Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I know that they played Elden Ring. It's like y'all are fucking phonies, man.
Type 2.
Yeah, like for me, look, do I prefer male and female? Yes, because that's reality. But at the same time, too, if they change male and female to A and B, what am I? You think that's gonna stop me from playing the game?
No, not at all.
If it has the pronouns and then the pronouns are connected to
shit makes me pause
changing
for a
up the story and motherfuckers in the game are asking what are my pronouns, then that's a different fucking situation altogether.
Yeah, it's the thing when Jaffe tried to defend Dragon Age Veilguard and got himself involved in becoming a lolcow in the first place. He was trying to say that it's like the same as the existence or non-existence of gay characters or black characters, which of course is fucking ludicrous. Because at the end of the day, even if you opted out of being trans in that game, the whole fucking plot would beat you over the head with the trans agenda. That's the difference.
That was the biggest issue.
And in the context of this comment, this motherfucker is assuming that anti-woke is like the John Della roasted version of anti-woke, which isn't actually anti-woke. It's fucking right-wing religious
bullshit zealotry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more like pro censorship.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Which again, we're against.
Yeah.
From either side.
The men wear dresses, women and have women's voices. You can do the other option too. It's not like they're forcing you to do that. It's been in RPGs forever for the most part.
They're not telling you that that's the best way to play or something. You know,
women can have beards in men's voices.
Quick question.
Again, what?
Where was all of this rah-rah when you had games like WWF Attitude back in like '99?
Yeah, right.
When you can make female characters and male characters and throw like bikinis on dudes and mustaches.
You could.
Where was all that?
You could have a fucking 400-pound super heavyweight have matches against women.
You've had this forever, man.
Bro, dude, I watched a clip last night of
intergender hardcore matches.
Who was it? I'm blanking on his name. The fucking beast of a dude, blonde hair. He's been WWE forever, went to UFC for a while. Wow, I'm blanking on his name.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, dude, I watched the clip last night.
Brock Lesnar.
Fucking cunt punting Rhea Ripley, like in the new WWE. It was funny as shit.
I can't stand Rhea Ripley.
You've had the option for this forever, and again, the people that complain about you'll have people complain, okay, about women having beards. But then if you ask them what one of their favorite fantasy IPs are of all time, most of them will say Lord of the Rings, which had dwarven women with beards.
Women with beards,
yeah. It's like, what are we seriously doing? You know what I mean? Like, are you really try to pretend like this hasn't been a thing for the longest time?
I think it has been a thing for a long time, but it's just more people are hypersensitive to it because
Of course it is.
of the modern
Right.
takeover agenda.
Right, but
So
if you get
and I wanna be-
hypersensitive to it, then you're the same as the wokies because the wokies are hyper fucking sensitive.
mhm.
But I want to be clear though, like you can, that's fine. You can be hypersensitive to it. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with noticing patterns. And let's not pretend like there are things happening today that feature some of these things that are like not all of them are done in good faith, obviously, right? We can have the distinction of Veilguard being a prime example of what it means to truly be a woke game and what it means to actually shove shit down your throat and go past the point of optional supposed RPG into, well, listen, we know you don't want to play a trans character, but did you know that if you misgender this character, you're gonna have to do push-ups? You know what I'm saying? It's like it really gets to a
Pulling
point
the
where
barb.
there is a big difference between the two.
Blah.
But that's just what it is, man. And anyway, and then the last one is, and then if there's pigments, no doubt the rainbow dye will make a return, and they hate rainbows. So there it is. Again, it's just one of these arguments where they're assuming the argument of others. They have this perception of what they believe one thing to be, and they're just trying to validate. Yeah, they're trying to validate their own perception whenever asked about what makes a game woke. Again, nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody with half of a brain that has called Monster Hunter Wilds woke. I don't count JDA or none of those guys because they're
He
just
doesn't have
engaged-
half a brain.
They're engagement farming on Twitter, man. That's one of their highest monetary platforms, and they're engagement farming on Twitter for it. So they purposely say stupid shit that they know people are going to disagree with. But aside from that, man, I don't know of anybody that calls this game woke. I really don't. Personally. Unless you do. You've heard of anybody? I don't. So
Nope.
What, Monster Hunter?
yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds.
No, God no. I don't see anything woke about it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I have not seen anything.
Yeah, so overall, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's not a woke game. That's the least of the problems.
Right,
with
right.
With this.
But look at
potential
us.
game.
Look at us talking about shit that doesn't have to do with woke. How about that? That's wild. It's refreshing.
Yeah, almost as if we're
Especially in a video
equal
game.
opportunity.
Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
We'll talk
The
about
world is
anything
good.
that pisses us off and takes away from good gameplay. That's what we'll
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Exactly.
Final thoughts on Monster Hunter. I want to move on to Terminator, man. I want to talk about that game.
Oh, that thing looks awesome. Sorry, go on.
On the topic of woke, hold on. I gotta put myself on camera for this one. On the topic of woke, I got
In
the deluxe
profile.
edition from the lady got me the deluxe edition. So you get like this samurai armor, right? My black ass decided to replicate Yasuke. So now I'm running around the Monster Hunter Wilds enacting black excellence on all the monsters. It's great.
Black excellence.
Speaking
That's
of
a
black
contradiction in
excellence,
terms, by the way.
Black excellence.
Oh, they do have a gunner position in that game, don't they?
What in
What position
Monster
is
Hunter?
that?
Speaking of fucking guy. Speaking of, I forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it. Never mind. Forget it.
Rip.
Yeah, rip. I pulled in a trace there for a second. Speaking of
It's
which,
better
that
than pulling a
man
barb.
fucking ran away. Anyway, last thoughts, Monster Hunter, anything before I move on?
No, I'm done.
That's
I
still
look
bad.
forward to playing it in about 3 months' time when I'm done with everything else. And they fixed it by that point, probably.